Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Nick Colionne, yes, jazz aficionado and maestro. Nick, what's my
maestro? Oh, we're all doing good. I don't know about all that maestro stuff, but I'll take
so humble.
It's a pleasure to meet you, brother.
Yeah. It's my pleasure, believe me.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm a big fan, man. And leading up to this, I've just been jamming to your music all week and just getting it ready in the shower, just jamming out, set the tone for my whole day, honestly. And yeah, appreciate you doing this.
It really means a lot to do it. And you know, me and my guy Matt there, we go back 600 or 700 years.
600 or 700.
When dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Roamed the earth.
Yeah, man. So, you know, obviously we're going to get to know you a lot better during this whole process, and everyone listening will as well. But, you know, you got that guitar in your hand. You look like you might be ready to tell us a little bit about something about yourself with your music.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been playing mostly all my life. You know, I started playing when I was a little kid, like 9 years old. And when I first started playing, because my stepfather played guitar, you know, he didn't play out professionally. He had a band, and there was 3 of them, and he should be out on the weekends making noise. So, but, no, he was a really good player, and and he played jazz. So when I started playing guitar, I started playing jazz. You know, and he introduced me into like West Montgomery. That was
right. West Montgomery is a beast.
That was what I initially learned to play in the beginning, and it took me a minute to figure it out. You know, because you know Wes always played octaves, and I always thought you played octaves like this. And so I was like.
And flip it.
Oh, that's kind of hard. I don't know how you're doing all that. But then, you know, I finally learned to.
Oh, yeah, man. That's so cool. So I love that, the melodic aspect. With the octaves, you know,
yes.
You really have to be able to move around laterally quickly, I've noticed.
And basically, I'm a lot more comfortable playing octaves than I am single notes.
Are you really?
Really, you know, and I love playing with my thumb, but thumb don't cut through on the really big stages. You know, back when Wes was playing, they were doing mostly club type venues, and then, you know, some auditoriums, you know, but on the stages that I'm playing, when you get with your thumb, you gotta like jack it up some more.
So you're more of a finger picker than, or
I use a pick.
Okay, you use a pick.
As a matter of fact, I use the for your audience, I use the Nick Colionne pick.
Hey, throw
those made by? Where can they get those?
Throw that advertisement in.
Nah, I give these away. I'll make sure you fellas have one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There we go. So then I played jazz, and then as I got into my teens, you know, I started playing R&B because that was the music my peers listened to. You know, when I got to high school, you know, it's like, what is this stuff you playing? You know, I don't know. You know? So high school, I started just playing as a sideman behind. We had a lot of singing groups in my school. You know, everybody thought they was the Temptations or something. So, and my school would have 2 or 3 big talent shows every year. And so me and my cousin Paul, who played bass, we would back up all the singers, you know, and make them buy us lunches, you know.
You earned it.
Yeah, we weren't getting paid, so exactly. It was like, you know.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
It is not.
You know, but so we did that, and then came out of school. Well, even while I was in high school, I started touring. I started touring with a bunch of much older R&B groups like the Staple Singers and the Impressions, you know.
Really? You played with the Impressions?
Yeah.
That is so
straight out of
cool.
high school.
No, I was still in high school.
Still in high school and played with the
I
Impressions.
could go on the road in the summer
At a young age.
and I could play on weekends, you know, but
Probably weren't old enough to drink yet.
and, you know, it was like I would, you know, play with them, and I learned so much from like working with these groups, and they, you know, how they found me was like I had kind of got a little reputation on the West Side, and so like a lot of my friends from the West Side, they still call me Kid, right? You know, they're like, yo, Kid, what's going on, my cousins? You know, because people, you know, like older guys and older groups, they would be looking for a guitar player, you know, and they'd be like, hey, get that kid from the West Side.
And for anyone that doesn't know, you were born in Chicago, so the West Side of Chicago.
Yeah, the West Side of Chicago, the Big Windy.
Yeah, where'd you go to high school at?
Marshall High School.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so, you know, it was always, you know, let's get that kid from over on the West Side.
Get that kid.
You know, and in the early age, you know, so I went out there and, you know, I'm not going to say I wasn't scared. You know, all these older guys playing these guitars, and I was like, whew. Okay, you know, now we got to go out there.
That's right. You got something to prove.
Got to go out there and act like I know what I'm doing.
Fake it till you make it.
You know, funny thing is, like, during that time, I was playing with one group, and for some reason, they made me the band leader.
Really?
Everybody else was like in their 20s. You know? But I would go on the road with them sometime by myself, and there would be house bands like orchestras.
Yeah.
And I would walk around passing the music out. And they look at me like, oh, he must be the dude that's just passing out the music. And then they find out, like, yeah, he's the MD, you know, he's the music director.
Right.
And they look at me like, oh, Lord, here we go.
What are we in for, kid?
Now, what is this clown going to tell us? You know?
Probably some ego issues, as any musician has to deal with.
They'd be like, yeah, this is not right. I was like, it was right yesterday when other people played it. Yeah, so I was a real smart mouth.
Oh, yeah, I can tell. You still have a bit of smart mouth when you're on stage, but in the most funny way.
Well, I don't know. People People like to talk to me while I'm on stage. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to do a show, you know? You know, and
last time I saw you, I mean, you probably it flows naturally from you, but there was absolutely an element of comedy when you're on stage. For instance, I've thought of the story. Your string broke, and I saw you just so professional walk off to the back of the stage, walk back on, your whole band keeps it going, and then you just start putting on the string and joking about how your string broke to the whole crowd and how you're totally effed.
I'm totally out of tune here. So, you know, I don't know. I think one of the funniest things that ever happened to me, man, you know, and people always telling me, they're like, man, you know you could be a stand-up comic. I said, yeah, if I stand up there, tell me to sit back down. But, you know, I was doing a show on the jazz cruise, and I also hosted the jam sessions, you know, so I introduced everybody, you know, to come out to play. And there was this guy. Every time I came out, he was like, hey, Nick, from out in the audience somewhere, can you play Breezin'? I was like, no.
Leave me alone.
You know, I'm trying to do a show. Would you not talk to me? You know? So, man, this went on every night, you know. So about the third or fourth night, you know, he was starting to really kind of get on my nerves, you know, and I was trying to play it all. He's like, hey, Nick, when you gonna play Breezin'? So I say, whenever George Benson starts playing one of my songs, I'll play one of his.
I feel like I feel that too. It's like,
you know,
we're all kind of DJs and musicians, obviously, and everything. And Tyler and I kind of would start DJing house parties, and they would just keep coming up to us. hey, can you play this song?
Yep.
Hey, can you play this song? I'm like, you'll
Oh,
hear it if
God.
I play it. Like,
Right.
The requests are
just
terrible.
listen and enjoy your night and
Yeah.
enjoy the music and enjoy being with friends. You'll hear it if you hear it.
People request stuff from me all the time. You know, they request things that are on my records.
Right.
I don't even know the song. It's like,
Play this other person's song that I don't know.
Hell, I don't even know my own songs.
I gotta keep track of my own ones.
like, can you play this? And I was like, please play such and such. And I'm like, who made it? They're like, you. I was like, really?
I saw Ozzy Osbourne live one time, and I swear he was like listening to the crowd sing the words to try to help him remember what the words to his own song were.
I feel like by the time you make 80 to like 300 songs, you definitely lose track of your words and were these words from this song or this song? You start combining, singing almost 2 to 3 songs at once.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, you do a CD, you do 10, 11 tracks on it, right? Live, you may only play 3 or 4 from that CD.
Right.
So some of these songs, you never played again after you recorded them.
Yeah,
You know, it's
so
like,
true.
we were walking through the airport not long ago, well before this COVID thing, and
Yeah.
a song was playing over the airport speakers. And my drummer says, hey man, ain't that one of your songs? I was like, I stopped, I was like, nah. And we keep walking. He's like, man, I swear that's one of your songs. It's on the CD. So I stopped, and I was like, oh yeah, that is one of my songs. And he says, what's the name of that one? I was like, I don't know. I had to pull my phone out and hear Shazam. Like, oh yeah, that's that song.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I remember
that is
it
too
now.
funny, man.
I think any musician wants that to happen to the where they're to the point where they're just forgetting about the songs and it's playing over the airport. And
You've made it.
You've made it for sure.
Watching another podcast with 2 like rappers, Eminem and Lil Wayne, and they're like, man, if you go to like Eminem or type in E or L and Google, the first thing is my lyrics, because I have to Google my own lyrics to see if that was my
Yeah,
song or
he's been
not.
doing
Yeah.
It's like I made so many that I just
Yeah.
lose track of which songs I made and which I haven't.
What you don't, you know, it's like, oh. Then you hear a song that's really great, and you say, hey, that one of mine. Oh, no, I didn't make that one.
I wish I made that one.
I should have made that one.
And we talk about this all the time, but Stravinsky's quote is good musicians borrow and great musicians steal.
There you go. You know.
So just steal it.
It might be on my next record. Under a new name.
How many albums have you released, Nick, since you've been doing
My solo thing?
Yeah.
12.
12 albums?
Gee.
We were, it was that album that's on your wall over there.
Wait, It's My Turn. Yeah, it's crazy.
92, you said?
Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me because I hear your music changed after that. Because during that time, it was like very break beats. Like the drums were very hip hoppy, and then after that, it gets way more. You go way more to the smooth jazz.
When I recorded that record, as a matter of fact, I didn't have no idea what I was doing.
Yeah,
Seriously, you know, I had this Tascam 4-channel tape recorder.
Yep.
And I would just be sitting in the house and making up stuff. And I was playing with a group, and the bass player was opening a recording studio out in Waukegan.
Okay.
And he's like, so I was letting him hear my 4-track stuff. He's like, man, you should come out to my studio. You know, I was like, yeah, I was like, I can't afford no studio. He's like, man, you know, I'm gonna give you a real good rate. And at this time, I had just started being managed by Carol.
Oh, yeah, I remember Carol.
And, you know, which was a weird thing because she the one kind of talked me into going to the studio.
Really?
Because she was coming to see us play all the time. We were playing at the Cotton Club on Southside, and I would talk to her on breaks, and she says, you know, you should really break off and go on your own. I was like, I don't know nothing about being on my own. And she's like, no, really, I really think you got something. I was like, huh? So she kept on. A couple of weeks later, she's like, really, Nick, I think you should go out on your own. I was like, well, then you should manage me. And she looks at me and she's like, I don't know nothing about managing.
We're in the same boat.
We're gonna figure this out together.
Well, we'll learn it together. And her dad had been a musician, you know.
Okay.
And man, she was a hard taskmaster.
Was she?
Oh yeah.
That's what you
Man,
need.
She was like, okay, if I'm gonna take a chance at this, she's like, because she had a really high-powered job at Motorola, you know.
Did she?
And she's like, we're gonna do it right. I was like, okay. Man, she started coming to my house. Let me see your wardrobe. She looked at my clothes. She started taking stuff off and throwing it on the floor. She's like, you don't need this. You don't need that. And I was like, hold it, that's my favorite shirt. She's like, not no more.
I feel like I've met women like this before.
I feel like
You know.
we'll have at least once.
So her and I, we went out to Maurice's studio to start cutting my first record. It's my turn. I named it It's My Turn because I was like, okay, well, I'm tired of looking at people's backs. There's always a singer in front of me, you know. And Maurice's studio wasn't even ready by no means, no how. I wish I knew what those pictures were. We started recording. His console was on crates.
Like milk crates.
Yeah, milk
like
crates.
those old milk
Yeah.
crates.
His console was on crates.
Can't afford a desk yet.
You know, I'm sitting on the crate. Most of the time we were on our knees looking at the stuff, you know. And he had just had his kid. His kid was in a walker. He'd run around bumping into stuff. And I was like, man. And we went, you know, and we recorded the record there. And, you know, it's funny how the events just took place. Like I said, I had no idea what I was actually doing, except the group that I was in, which was me, a young lady singer, and the keyboard player. We were the actual group.
Yeah.
And then Maurice was playing bass, and we had a drummer. And I always noticed the singer and the piano player, they were a couple. So when we got ready to start, supposed to record, they never liked none of the stuff I wrote.
Of course.
Oh, interesting.
And then one day, I get a message on my answering machine that they were letting me go because I had a conflict of interest because I was recording some stuff of my own. And like I said, I didn't have any idea what I was recording just because Maurice said he had a studio.
Right.
You know?
You can't record on your own.
So I said, okay, it hurt my feelings. I was really hurt behind that. And because I noticed, like the keyboard player, he was living with me for a while, you know, and I would ask him to play keyboards on some of the stuff, you know, because I had the little sequence and everything at home. He never would play on my stuff, you know. I wasn't even charging him no rent. I was like, you know.
Dang.
And
Good friend.
so we started recording, and another friend of mine, well, he's a great friend to me now, named Billy, he's a bass player, who was Maurice's best friend.
Okay.
He came in the studio one day and he was like, you know, can I, you know, watch? And I was, you know, would it be all right? Because Maurice told him you had to ask me, you know. And I was like, cool, man, you know. So I was cutting this tune, Love Should Have Brought You Home. And I was doing up a part, and Billy says to me, he's like, hey, man, it would be real cool if you did like, diddling, you know, just a little diddling right there. And I was like, and he thought I was going to be offended by him. I was like, okay, I tried. I was like, it works.
Wow, collaboration.
You know, so when he got ready to leave, he expresses to me that his mom used to work at WNUA, which was the smooth jazz station here at that time. Okay. And then he told me his mom was suffering from cancer and stuff like that, you know. So I had a Maurice made me a 4-song cassette tape. Yeah. So I said, give one to Bill, you know. So his mom, he's like, man, she would really love what you're doing.
That's nice of you.
And I was like, cool, man. So he took the tape home, man, and I came back to the studio next week the next following weekend, he's like, hey, man, my mom gave me this number for you to call the operations manager at WNUA. Because that's who she had worked with directly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? It's like, yeah, she wants you to call him.
Wow.
And I called the guy. He says, send me the tape. I sent him the 4-song tape, and he calls me back, and he says, I gave this to the music director here at the station. He wants to talk to you. Wow. So I called this guy. His name was Michael Fisher. And he's all excited. And he's like, when will the CD be ready? And I was like, well, probably about another month or so, I'll be through, because I'm working out of my pocket here,
Right.
And so when a CD was ready, I called him, and he was out of town. So,
of course.
And he calls me back, man, and I'll never forget this day as long as I live, man. He calls me back on a Friday morning, all excited. Can you bring the CD down to the station? I had the flu. I was sick as I don't know what, right?
Perfect timing.
And I was like, yeah.
Of course.
So I go down there. He introduces me to everybody at the radio station. And he started listening to the CD, and he's like, okay, man, we're going to start with this song. And I'm like, and people have been telling me, man, they ain't going to never play you, my friends. Man, they ain't going to play you, blah, 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 blah. And he's like picking out songs. He's like, we're going to start with this one, then we're going to go to this one for a second single. And I'm like, I don't even have a radio promoter at this time. I'm not on any label,
Right.
Yeah.
Me and Carol started our own label, On the Edge Productions.
Did you?
And so I was like, wow. So I came home, man. I called Carol. I was like, man, he said he's going to play this and he's going to start with this. And I was like, well, everybody's saying I'm not going to get played. Let's see what happens. That Monday morning, I had somewhere to go, and I had my radio alarm. When my radio alarm would go off, it would come on the radio. The radio would come on as the alarm. I would sleep, and the song "Love Should Have Brought You Home" came on the radio. It came on the alarm.
Universe.
Man.
There's tears in my eyes, man.
And I'm in the bed, and I'm thinking, I got to be dreaming, or I left some stuff on last night or something, right?
Right.
And I look, and it's playing on the radio, and I hit the phone. Carol, wake up, turn on your radio. She's screaming in the phone,
God, that's
and
so
I'm like,
cool.
And it's like, next thing I know, the song is going off, and they're like, "There's Chicago's on, Colionne." And I'm like, I don't believe this, And then the same day, I hear my song "Soulful Stress." So they kicked me off with 2 singles on that station.
Wow.
That's
And I'm like, whoa. Then a record company called me, about 3 or 4 weeks later. Yeah, they started a new record company in Carroll Stream called Lakeshore Jazz.
Okay.
So they signed me, and I was like, yeah, I'm on my way now.
Coming.
Because I was under the impression, once you had a record out, you was going to get like 10 million gigs.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, it didn't work like that. It don't work like that. It's like, I got a record that's on the radio every day, So then when I went to my second record, Arrival, it was called Arrival because I thought I had arrived.
It's my turn. Arrival.
I have arrived.
Hey, I like that deep underlying meaning type stuff.
It actually has meaning behind the album name.
Right.
Then I hardly got any airplay on the record anywhere.
Really?
Not even in Chicago.
Huh.
That's about
I like.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I arrived and I left at the same time.
That's the next album.
Well, that's such a big fear of any artist, I feel like, when you start to get a little bit of exposure or a little bit of success is, shoot, now I have to keep it going. What am I going to do if they don't like me anymore,
That's correct, and then I got to my third record, The Seduction. It was real iffy with airplay and stuff. I didn't get any airplay in Chicago, my hometown. And a lot of radio stations around, you know, if you're not getting airplay in your own home city, they're like, they're not playing you in Chicago and you live there? No, but I'm hoping you'll play me in St. Louis and I'll move. And then, man, I'll tell you, by the time I got to my fourth record, I was ready to hang it up. I was like, I told Carol, I was like, you know, we out of money. I'm about ready to sell all this stuff and just call it a day. And
Wow.
she was like, no, don't do that yet, you know. And I got to talking to my mom, you know. I told my mom, you know, I don't think it's going to happen for me, you know. I'm out of money. I can't do nothing, you know. Because, you know, I counted all my gigs as studio time. It's like, okay, with this gig, I can pay the light bill and get 2 hours of studio time. You know?
Oh, that's so true.
You know, you have to make the sacrifice, you know, and Carol was putting her money into me, you know, and
Wow. So she believed in you, obviously.
yeah. Then I was telling my mom about it. My mom was like, how much money you need? I was like, a lot. I was like, to finish this record and do it good, I need another $10,000-$12,000,
Wow.
right?
I know studio time's so
And, you know, and back then, you know, you had to buy tapes, you know, because and each roll of tape, man, is like $250, you know,
Oh
and
my
you can only
God.
put 2 songs on the tape.
You could only go over it so many times,
Right,
right?
and you can
So you got to
only
get
go-
it right.
And you got to have, and you can only fit 2 songs on a reel, you know.
added pressure of not having
Get
enough
it
money,
right.
and you have to perform
then-
really hard music.
You know, and it's like, back then, before we had all this stuff where you could record at home, you know, you go in the studio and you got to record, man, that light come on, you like, I got to come up with something good right now. I ain't got that much money, you know.
Exactly.
So I started, and there were 2 guys who had took over at WNUA. It's a new music director, because Mike Fisher had been gone. There was another guy after him, excuse me, who didn't like me from sight, I think. But seriously, me and Carol went down to the radio station one day, and she's like, we should go in and see the new guy. And I was like, sure. Because whenever we were downtown, we would just stop in because we knew everybody there.
Yeah, yeah.
We should go in and meet him. We talked to him 5 minutes because he was like brushing us off. We stand at the elevator. I said, this guy's not going to play my next record. And Carol's like, you can't say that. And look how big this record here is. I was like, watch. And he didn't.
You just knew.
And had a radio promoter, and I tried to talk to the guy myself over the phone. And he was like, well, Nick, you know, I just hate to tell you, you know, we can only play great music. And I was like,
That's
real
biased.
slap in my face, you know.
Oh yeah, what? I mean, I don't know if he even plays music,
You know.
but the best is when those people don't.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, he heard me, so he put me on defensive. He's like, yeah, we can only play great music. And I was like, so when you going to start playing it? Because I ain't hearing it. You know? And he's like, you should let your radio promoter talk. I was like, dude, let me tell you this. Nick Colionne was playing guitar before you started there. I said, when you finish playing there, I said, when they fire you, I'll still be playing.
Damn right.
And then when I looked up again, he was gone working selling cars.
Boom.
He was selling cars down around Old Town.
That's
Wow.
And I saw him and I was like, yo, I'm still playing.
I had to make sure I stopped.
You should just buy the nicest car at this car dealership. Sell it the next.
You should buy the car dealership and then fire him.
Right? I wish I could.
A little bit above our heads.
I don't think he's working there no more either. So, but on that fourth record, I don't know how religious or spiritual you guys are, but I'm very spiritual.
I'm very spiritual, yes.
And the fourth record, like I said, by the time I ran through all the money and everything, man, I went to the studio and I got my master tapes and the mixes, and it's down on Orleans studio called Hinge. And I came out, I was standing on the corner of Orleans and Ohio Street, which is where the studio was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm waiting for, going to catch a cab home. And I remember something my great-grandmother kept telling me, because my great-grandmother's still alive, She only died maybe last 10 years,
Wow.
Yeah, she died like 3 weeks before her 106th birthday.
106.
Long way.
She always told me, the reason why stuff ain't happening is because you don't put God in front of you.
That's right.
You want to do it all yourself.
Ah.
And I remember I came out the studio and I was standing there and I looked up at the sky and I was like, God, whatever you choose to do with this record, you do it, because I don't know what to do. And I'm getting out of your way and I'm just going to let you do it. Whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely.
We sent it out to a few record companies. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from a record company in D.C. This guy was like, I love this song, blah, blah, blah. I love your record. Come up to D.C. Go up to D.C., they offered me a contract. And at that time, he was being financed by a guy named Bob Johnson, who was because Marcus was younger than me, the guy who owned the studio, but he had great backing. This guy, Bob Johnson, is like one of the first black billionaires. He owned BET.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And because there was another record company that opened here. I thought they was going to sign me. The guy was like, yeah, I'm going to sign you. And then when I brought the record to him, he's like, I don't hear any hits on here. I was like, what? After I went through all of this, and so this cat said he's going to sign me. But I kind of jumped a little bit forward, people. Thank you. But
We got time.
the two guys,
Take your time.
the two guys that came and took over the thing in WNUA, the program director, music director, WNUA had a show down at, they had a cruise light, because I used to play there like a lot of Thursdays. They had Smooth Jazz Thursdays at Navy Pier.
Oh, nice.
And so when the new guy came in, he called me up and he's like, I used to play your stuff in Seattle. I played all your stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. And then we got a call saying that Clear Channel had about 7, 8 stations here, because they own the Loop, they own, the rock stations and the R&B stations and it. He's like, Clear Channel's having this cruise. That's what the people call in Tokyo. And each station has to bring in a group to represent the music for them.
Okay.
And our boss wants Nick to be that guy.
That's awesome.
And I was like, and this is before my 4th record, right? And I was like, cool, So now I have no idea what this dude looked like or anything. So I'm doing the show and I'm looking, I was like, Bob Cake, I wonder what he looks like. His name's Bob Cake, right? I was like, I don't know what he looks like or anything, But I seen this one guy, like floating around the stage, white guy, long beard and stuff, I was like, I don't think that's him. Then when I came off the stage, he walked up and he says to me, you did exactly what I knew you would do. Because I went on first. I was like, okay. The comedian was on, then me. Then they had like the guys from Kool and the Gang and all these other groups.
Nice.
Man. And so about 2 weeks later, I'm doing Smooth Jazz Thursday at Navy Pier. So one of the jocks who was introducing me, she starts telling this story. I don't have no idea, what it's about, And she started telling the people about the cruise, how Clear Channel had all the acts to represent their thing. And they had a meeting with all the stations and they said, put the smooth jazz on first because it's dinner music. It's just, all laid back, we have dinner to that.
Right.
And she said, my boss looked at us and said, they don't know who I got, because me and my boys, we went out blasting.
That's right. That's always been your thing. You mix that funk and the blues with the smooth jazz.
It's like I've always looked at jazz like, when I started doing my own thing, I was like, I used to tell Carol, I was like, how come a jazz show can't come off with as much energy as a rock show or an R&B show, you know? And so then this guy, Bob Cake, he's like, I want you to come down to the station, He's like, you working on anything? I said, yeah, I'm working on some stuff, He's like, bring it down, let me hear what you're going. Maybe I can help you.
Yeah.
Because he had told me at the cruise, he's like, if it's anything I can ever do to help your career, I will do it. You hear that all the time from people.
Of course.
They give you their card and they be hoping you never call them. And they're like, well, give me your card. You know they ain't gonna never call you. Of course. So I went down there, man, to him and the music director, Carl. I go down there and they say, let's see what you got. What you working on. They took me out to lunch. I said, yeah, cool. I love eating.
Me too.
So we go down there, we go back to the station. I pull out my little CD that I burnt,
Of course.
I'm sitting there and they listening. They looking like, maybe if you did this, or maybe if you did that on this song, and I'm like, I'm going, I'm shrinking.
That ego deflated.
Yeah.
It takes away from the art too.
Yeah, because now
you're the artist.
So much your man.
You're the artist.
I go back to the drawing board. I go down there about another 2 weeks. Another CD. They put it on. Well, this has potential, and there's one, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, man, I'm not going to never get this on the radio again. And then that day they said, Carl pulled a chair over. He's like, listen to these songs. He's like, and then you tell us which ones you think will be added. So they started playing, other people's music.
Right.
They played a song. I was like, oh, yeah, that's good. We won't be playing that. Then they'd explain why, And then I was like, okay, I think I got the picture, So they say, because when they sat me down and said, we're going to teach you how to listen to a song like a radio programmer.
Right. What are they looking for?
What they're looking for. So I left with a new perspective,
That's nice.
And a couple of weeks later, because we was doing this like every 2 weeks or so, I go down. We had a ritual. I go downtown, we go to Banderas, we eat, then we go back to the station,
Banderas is awesome.
And so it's like, so what you got for us? I was real hesitant about pulling it out, right?
Right.
So I pull it out, and they started listening. They're like, I think you're on track now. You're on track. This is sounding good. When you finish it up, let us hear it.
That's good.
So I said, okay, at least I'm on track, So when the record was done, and I'd already, got the deal. I just hadn't been to D.C. yet.
Right.
So I went down. Now, Carl had got a promotion, but they moved him to D.C. So he was now a program director, not a music director.
Right.
So I go down to Bob. Now, Bob hasn't got a promotion. He's operations manager for the whole region, right? So I go down there to his new office on Michigan Avenue, and I'm like, I got the record. He's like, okay, let me hear what you got. I give him the CD, wasn't pressed on the label yet, but, it was from the studio. And he's sitting behind his desk. I'm sitting in the chair, nervous as I don't know what. The man listened to the whole CD without saying 10 words.
Wow.
Didn't say anything about the record. And he listened stone-faced, like...
He was messing with you.
He listened stone-faced, man. The record went off, and I'm waiting to hear, do you like it or you don't like it? And when the CD finally went off, he walked over to the CD player, man. He hit the thing, and he's like... He turns back around, he looks at me. Well, now I'm about ready to cry, man. I'm like, he hate this record, right? You know,
The final blow.
right, man. That's my ring bell. And he says, turns around, he looks at me, he's like, get up and give me a hug. You did it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
and I'm like, he's like, I'm sending it to Carl. He's like, you got the other copy? I was like, yeah. He said, I'm FedExing this to Carl in D.C.
Wow.
And the next day I get a email from Carl. And he's like, I'm sitting here now and saying, listening to the new Nick Colionne record and saying, my boy's done it.
My boy's done it.
So, yeah, you know.
I think it says a lot.
Yeah,
I think it says a lot about you as an artist, because I feel like artists do hold this kind of big ego almost. They take criticism in a bad way almost sometimes. And
Right.
the fact that you went to them like 3 or 4 times and took what they said to heart and didn't take it. You didn't take it in a negative way. You took it to heart and you came back with those changes that they suggested every time. And then finally that 4th time or so,
Yep.
they're like, man, you did it. This is what we've been looking for. You found yourself as an artist and you took what they said to heart. And I think that's awesome as an artist.
When you know that people are giving you constructive criticism,
Yes.
you know, and they're trying to help you, you can't really get mad, you know. And, and the funniest thing was, you know, radio stations have music meetings every week about what songs they're going to add, right?
That's their job, right?
Right, so I'm down in Woodfield Mall all day one day, and my phone didn't work inside Woodfield. You know,
Of course not.
I couldn't get no service. So I came out, and I'm in the car, and I get I got like 10 messages from Bob Kate, right? So
Yeah.
So I called him up. I was like, what's up, Bob? He's like, I just want you to know we just had the music meeting. I was like, oh yeah, what happened?
I'm so used to that.
I'm thinking they voted me out. He's like, I played the single, cause Carl picked the first single.
Okay.
And he's like, and this time he's like, I didn't tell anybody in the station who it was, because I knew everybody that worked there, all the jocks and everybody. He said, I didn't tell anybody who this song was by. I was like, just let me know what you think about this, about adding this. And then he's like, they were asking, who is he? He's like, just let me know what you think. He said, the song went off, and he's like, everybody clapped and raised their hand. Yeah, that's an ad. And he said, one of the jocks said, who is it, Bob? He's like, Nick Colionne. He's like, he's like, a few of the ladies worked there started crying. They were all clapping. So they were happy for me, you know?
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that feeling.
Without those failures, though, who knows what would happen to your career?
You know,
without
you gotta
peaks,
go
there
down.
are no valleys.
Right,
Without
right.
valleys, there are no peaks.
You know, it's like,
Exactly.
you know, but I came into, you know, doing my own thing I had a motto. I was like, you know, they can slow me down, but they can't stop me.
Yeah.
Only I can stop me, you know.
What I think is interesting hearing your story is some of the albums you described as having struggles with. That's like when I first met you.
Right.
You know, 98, something like that.
I never-
99, I can't forget
Yeah, I
exactly
remember
what it
you.
was. And, you know, it's really inspiring for me, because as I've gotten older as a musician, you know, one guitar teacher told me he worked every job along the way to make it work, you know, delivering pizzas, delivering bread, newspapers, anything he could.
Good to do.
And I've definitely done that. You know, I've driven for Lyft. I've been a painter, worked at my parents' factory, and just like trying to make my way, you know. And I still have a lot of struggle yet to go, and you've been through it, you know.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
it's everybody wants to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be successful on stage, and it's not going to be handed to you. It's going to be years and years of
Even
grinding.
if you get it once, like
Yeah.
you have their first album
Yeah,
pop off,
and sometimes you get
Second
that
one was
opening.
zip,
Second,
third was zip,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And it's like, you know, you gotta believe in you, you know, and nobody else is gonna believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. You know, I don't care how many managers you get, you'll go through a million of them. If you don't have that belief in yourself and ready to put in the work, I mean, this is not like the 60s and all that thing where they had all these shows and people actually got discovered. Now they got, I mean, you got America's Got Talent and the voice and but how many people can actually get on there,
I mean, it's exactly, the chances of that are just so minuscule.
And then but from my understanding, 60s and 70s, record companies discovered people and and got them ready. Now you got to break the door down to get in there.
Everybody could post at any time. The competition is maybe even more insane now. You've had success early. You said you were touring in high school, but what
that was somebody else's thing.
Yeah,
I was just a
it's true.
backup.
It's true. Success as a musician, I would say.
I'm just a
So what influenced you the most as a young man musically? What were you listening to?
The one thing I can say, man, I played a broad spectrum of music.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't look at me now and say, this cat plays all this contemporary jazz, but I played in a heavy metal band for 5 years.
Did you?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did.
That is awesome.
Cats
You
around my
definitely
house.
have a fusion though. You're
Yeah.
funky, rocky, jazzy.
Well, that was something I always heard about Coltrane, is he just took all these different influences from many, many genres and finally fused it all into whatever John Coltrane became.
It was like, I used to play jazz clubs, man, and I think they used to hire me because they thought I was nuts, Because I'd be in there playing a Wes Montgomery song, and the next song might be Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, Then I'd go to running around on the tables and stuff.
That's the way to do it, though.
That's the way to do it. They're like, we never know what this crazy guy is gonna do, So, they started calling me Wild Man Nick,
Well, I don't know if you remember, but my dad always tells this story. But when Nico, my first bandmate, when we were in 5th grade, and I met you, Nico kept saying something about Nick, can you play Red House by Jimi Hendrix?
Yep.
And you were trying to kind of figure it out. Nico's like, oh, it's okay. It's a really hard song. You're like, it's not the playing, man. It's the remembering.
Right. I was like, how many years ago I played this song?
So you've forgotten more than you. Can you imagine?
I was when you pulled up, I was talking to my agent, Steve Butler, up on the East Coast, and I was telling him about you earlier because when I'm talking to him, that's a long conversation. We talk every day, and I was telling him how we met. He's like, "Well, how you meet him?" I was like, "I was in Sam Ash Music Store."
I was wondering if you remember this.
Oh yeah, I was in Sam Ash Music Store, and I was over. I was gonna buy some stuff, and I was just over playing the guitars, and these two little cats come up to me and it's like, "Can we watch you?" And I'm like, yeah. And they sat on the floor right next to the amp, and I'm thinking, you're real brave to sit in front of that amp. You don't never know how much I'm a blast. And his dad, your dad was with you, had you guys. And these guys started telling me they were starting to play guitars, and they had a little band they was putting together, and invited me to their show in the garage.
Yep, on our driveway.
And I was like, okay, and I went, And then they had another show. I came to that one. Then they had a party for your mom or something. I came to that.
Yeah, man. And looking back on that, I think I mentioned this to you the other day when we chatted on the phone briefly. But as I get older and just you get more perspective and you understand things. But one, there's a million people that are at the level you are musically that wouldn't take the time to do that. That they're too busy or whatever, And then just looking back at how much that little action that you took just to show up at my concert, I mean, it instills you with confidence, and you always were really gifted at instilling that. I mean, while I'm thinking of that too, haven't you done some mentor programs or something like that?
I mentored at St. Lawrence School, which is closing this year,
Really? Is that in Chicago?
In Elgin.
In Elgin, okay.
Yeah, and for 26 years almost.
Wow.
Wow.
And
I'm 26 years old.
I'm 28.
Yeah,
I was
you're
two
right.
when I went there.
How young are you, Nick? I want to know. If you don't mind, if you don't want to say, you don't have to though.
I'm gonna tell you what I tell all interviewers, because everybody asks you, So how old are you? I don't remember what lie I told the last person. But,
Fair enough, man. Well, hey, you look great either way. Yeah. You look good, man.
I'm not 22.
Not 22 anymore.
You know.
Well, if you've been mentoring for 26 years.
He's 28. He's 28.
He's 28.
My old road manager, Chris. I don't know if you ever met Chris, but
I don't think so.
when I first came to St. Lawrence, he was 8 years old.
Really?
And, you know, I come into the school to help the school raise some money. You know, my first record that came out, I didn't have no money, but I came there to help them, you know. And the principal, you know, it became a fan, and I was like, yeah. So she told me school needed money, you know, didn't have no money to pay the band and stuff like that. I was like, well, I'll pay the band, but you don't have to pay me, you know.
Wow.
And I was like, but I'd like to come and meet the kids, you know. So I came the day before the show because kids couldn't come to the shows for adults.
Right.
And kids were like, yeah. So, you know, they had this big thing in the auditorium thing. You know? So I was like, well, do anybody play guitar? About 3 8th graders, 1 7th grader, then this 3rd grader. Walk up there, you know. And so when I gave him the guitar, I got to adjust the strap because it's hanging to his ankles. You know. Adjust the straps, and he could play better than all of them.
Really?
Wow. And I was like, you my dude, man.
You my dude.
So so the next year I started coming back to the school every other week, you know, and I started hauling equipment up there and everything else, you know, teaching the kids how to use the computers to compose and stuff.
Right.
And so me and Chris, we got like this, you know, and it was so funny, man. Kids would be like running up to me, they're like, Nick, you know, because they didn't call me Mr. Colionne, you know. Nick, is Chris your son? I mean, my son. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Yep. This is my son.
Some miracle of nature.
You know? I don't know how I did this one, but, you know. And every year, man, Chris would come to me. Man, I'd be at school. He's like, I just want to grow up and go on the road with you. I was like, yeah. It's like, you know, okay. Then he went to high school, you know, and me and him was still tight, you know.
Yeah.
He needed to learn stuff on guitar because he played. And then he went to college. Got a guitar scholarship, which I felt like I had something to do with. And because he would call me from college. He's like, man, Nick, I took this test. I don't know. I don't think I did too good. He's like, I'll be home on the weekend. Can I come over? I'm like, yeah. So he come over. I said, so what did you play? So he played for me, and I was like, yeah, I don't think you did too good, because that ain't happening, you know. And we sit there and we work it out, you know.
Of course.
So then when he became a junior in college, he started doing some regional stuff with me, you know, as road manager and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when he graduated, he calls me up and he's like, and this was like funny. He's like, calls me up and he's like, so Nick, you know I'm graduating next week. Yeah, I know you graduate next week. I'm going to your graduation party. You know. He's like, okay, so now I'm going to work for you full time.
You just put it out there, man.
Yeah, I was like, I ain't hiring. I was like, I got too many people I'm paying now, Chris.
Right.
I was like, I love you, man, but I can't afford another dude right now, you know? He's like, okay, you know, he got all sad on the phone. Okay. And I felt so bad.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I went and told Sue, I was like, man, I feel really bad, you know? And about 40 minutes later, Carol, my manager, calls me. She's like, yeah, I just hired Chris.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what? Yeah, I just hired Chris. I'm like, you just hired Chris? I just told him I wasn't hired.
You seem like the demon.
He just went over my head.
He's like, I'm getting
She's
hired.
throwing out your clothes, hiring.
He's gonna be a good road manager.
Things have not changed that
So
much.
man,
since
you
the
know,
beginning.
so Chris worked with me for 7 years, you know,
Wow.
until his wife had their first kid, and he was like, and I mean, you know, it was a good marriage for us, for me and him, because I've known him just about his whole life, you know, so I can trust him with everything, my money, everything, you know, but
Right.
if he watches this, he gonna get mad because me and him would have it out, dude.
What did you?
Because Chris got on the road and started thinking he was my daddy. You know,
You're like, I already have one of those.
Look at the cameras.
you know, he always have a key to my room, right? I even told his dad cracked up. I was like, hey man, would you tell Chris he don't have to tuck me in at night? Now I'm laying in the bed, he come in and be like, pulling the cover up on me and pat me on the head. I'm like,
Little boy in you.
you ain't got to tuck me in. Or, you know, at the end
That
of the
is so
show, we
funny.
might have, you know, we had an early flight the next day. At the end of the show, I'm hanging out with all the other artists. You know, we got to hang around and kick it all
The
night.
hang.
It 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, and guys still tease me about this now. They be like, where's Chris, man? Because all the cats loved him, you know, all the
Right.
artists. I'm sitting there talking to the guys, man. Chris walks up. Don't you think you should be in the bed? We got to be up early. And guys are like, your daddy has spoken.
The law has been laid.
See you tomorrow, Nick. Yeah, man, you know. But, it's, you know, it was a good run, man. And now I got a kid out of North Carolina, Jose, and he's 20. He just made 25. And he acts so much like Chris. You know, sometimes I just tell him, I hate you. You know, so.
Yeah, I guess it all comes from a place of love. You know, they just want what's best for you.
You know, the thing is, man, you know, it's like, I'm really into young cats, you know. It ain't like I'm ancient, but sometimes I feel like it, you know, because, you know, everybody in my band almost is young enough to be my son. You know?
Right.
And they, you know, so I try to tell them, you know, how to do things, you know, how to act and stuff like that. And, you know, and all the younger artists coming up, you know, because everybody called me Uncle Nick now. You know, I should never put the name of that song out there.
Uncle Nick.
I had one drummer who started the whole thing, you know, because he had a kid, right? And his wife would be at the shows and she'd had a baby, right? And they would always hand me the baby. Talking about, go to Uncle Nick, right?
Yeah.
So he just started referring to me as Uncle Nick all the time. Now people be calling me Uncle Nick on the road. You know, it's like one guy, hey, Uncle Nick. I was like, dude, you old enough to be my grandfather. How did I get to be your uncle? You know?
You got the uncle vibe, I guess.
You know? And a kid I wrote a song with, his name is Nicholas Cole. He's really jumping up there as a producer and an artist, and we're on the same record label.
Nice.
So we did a song together. So he calls me up when the song is finished. He's like, so Uncle Nick, what we gonna call this song? I was like, just call it Uncle Nick. Song went to #1 on Billboard, right?
That's hilarious.
You know, like, you know, so, you know, right now my new single is sitting at #1 on Billboard right now.
No way, what's it called?
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Let's Get Serious. It's been #1 for the last 3 weeks. You know, so,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
you know, and
I haven't heard that one yet. I'll have to check it out.
it's on the new CD I gave you. And
Okay.
Hey.
the you know, so I've had some really good, you know, success with charts and stuff. As a matter of fact, well, my last record, Just Being Me, I had 2 #1 singles on that.
So cool.
And then my record before that, The Journey, made contemporary jazz history.
Really?
5 #1 singles from one record.
Wow.
That's insane, man.
And
Congrats on
it
that.
was cool when it did 4, because nobody had ever did 4. Then it did 5.
Right.
You know.
Well, so it shows too that even in this, latter part of your artistic journey, you're still finding yourself deeper as a musician and still finding your sound more fully.
The thing is, like, what I do, I'll go back. Like on my last, not this particular, not the new CD, but all my last 3 CDs before that, I took a song from my first CD to put on there. It's the last song, just to remind me where I come from.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Did you remake it or did you just
Nope.
Okay,
Put it out there. It's like,
because a lot of people may not go all the way back,
Right,
and now they're
it's like,
seeing something from
this
the
is,
past.
this is what I did first, and people always say, well, what do you think, is different about you now? I was like, nothing. I'm like, one guy was interviewing me. He's like, so, what do you think you did different? I was like, I don't know what I did different. I was like, I think I used to play better than I play now. But
your personality has seemed quite consistent since me meeting you as a young child.
it's like, but. For any young musicians out there and stuff, the thing is, as years go by, you have to keep reinventing yourself. You can't stay back at that first album. You gotta grow. And then you have to watch what's happening and listen to what's happening around you. Because you write a song 3 years ago. That song, if you're gonna put that out as a single, music changes every day.
What do you think you have to do or what are some of the better techniques to do to grow as an artist? Listening to other people's music, or is it more going back and listening to your old music and seeing what you could do different?
Yeah.
Seeing what's going on around the world, how music is changing?
Well, I listen to a lot of other stuff, man, and then I listen to a lot of real old stuff, and then I listen to my old stuff, and I'm like, But basically, when I'm listening to songs now, I'm listening to because there's so many different sounds available now.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm listening to sonically what they're doing. It's like, I listen to the rock ass, the pop music, and it's like, okay, these type of sounds are what's selling.
Yes.
So how can I incorporate the sounds, the synth sounds, and
Yeah,
stuff
elements.
like that.
That's what I
Different
noticed when I've been
elements,
listening to your music and revamping.
all that stuff, and bring that into what I do, and so that's what I try to do, and
Listen to other people's music.
listen to other people's stuff, but don't plagiarize on their song. I got my own songs.
Who's new artists that influenced you the most right now? Who are you listening to right now?
Well, the people who I really dig right now, man, is I like. This is gonna be unbelievable. One of my favorites is Justin Timberlake. Is one of my favorite dudes.
No, he's awesome.
Songs that remind me of old Temptations and stuff like that. Impressions.
Because that's I look at him, I was like, man, he like the Temps.
He's got a beautiful voice.
And he's got the movements like Michael, and
He can act.
I like Usher, because I think his
Usher's the
stuff
man.
is
Usher's the
cool.
man.
Usher's cool.
I got to see Stevie Wonder at Red Rocks, and Usher came out and joined for a song. It was
Oh
pretty
man,
cool.
that'd be awesome.
I think Usher's coming out with some new stuff too. He hasn't come out with anything for a while.
Yeah, he's
so.
Featured on a song recently.
Yeah.
And I like Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, she's great.
I like
Everywhere. You're everywhere. He's
Shows that
everywhere.
you're able to take all
Yeah.
these techniques from all these different
It's
people and
combining, it's taking those elements and making them work for yourself.
right. I like Beyonce, a lot of her stuff. But I like watching her on TV better. But
You and me both.
I like a lot of the new people, and a lot of new people coming up. The Weeknd,
Yeah, the weekend.
We've been showing him a bunch the weekend.
Yeah, I've been
lately.
late to the game on the weekend and very impressed.
So it's very talented people.
Yeah.
I really like Taylor Swift. I think she's really, really talented.
I teach Taylor Swift songs all the time, and I enjoy them. They're a very great writer. Very clever lyrics, really really solid, good chord progressions.
You know, it's like, I like people who write songs that tell stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I don't need to say, baby, let's go in the bedroom, blah, blah, blah. That ain't no romance.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a romantic by heart, you know, so
Same.
that's the stuff I like, you know, and so I tell, you know, the cats now, you know, I was like, you know, because, you know, our genre is getting smaller and smaller now.
Right.
And I'm like telling these young dudes, cause man, you gotta stop playing the music that your peers like, you know, bring those elements into the music. Because you're not gonna have no audience, you know?
Right.
Because the average smooth jazz people is like from 40 up,
Right.
You know? So it's like
you need that next generation. You gotta pass the torch, man.
To come along and, you know, keep the music, you know, alive.
Exactly.
And some listen, some don't, you know. But you know, and it's funny, man. I was telling my Susu, I was like, you know, I say, sometimes I feel like I'm ancient. I ain't even really that old.
No, you got a long time ahead of you, man. That's the thing.
And I'm like, I was at a gig. I remember the first time I met this kid, Jose. He was working with another artist, you know. So he had to be like 20, you know. And they were playing on the same show with me. And I remember I was walking past him in their band. And he's like, it's the legend. And I'm like, who? You know, and my piano player, Colin, he's like, they call you the legend, man. I was like, the legend? Who am I? The Lone Ranger? And I thought it was just something for those kids.
You just have this aura about you.
And I thought that was someone, but just someone with them. So another gig I was at, there was another group. They weren't even on the same show. They were just staying in the same hotel. This singer, he's an R&B singer. You might be hip to him, John B. You know, and his band knew some of my band members. And then it was Mary J. Blige's band.
No, Mary J. Blige.
Oh, yeah.
They were there. I was outside, you know, getting my crap out. And those two bands, they knew, like my bass player and those guys, they knew a bunch of the cats in Mary J's band. And I'm coming through the door. And it's like, yeah, man, that's we here with Nick, man, Nick Colionne. And these guys, man, you play with the legend? I'm like,
you're like, they're calling me the legend again. It's weird.
The Who and my bass player cracks and he's like, what y'all call him? He's like, man, everybody call him the legend. I'm like,
that's awesome. Like I said, I hope to do that someday.
You should take that to heart, though.
Yes, that means you're doing something right.
I ain't that old and I ain't dead. I'm about to do this, man. You know, but it's been a real, it's been a good ride, and I ain't through riding yet.
Definitely.
You know, I'm not through riding yet. I'm gonna take it until God says, okay, that's enough. My lady up there, I tell her sometimes, I was like, I wonder what age I should retire. And she says to me, B.B. King played till he was 90. I was like, you mean I gotta play till I'm 90? I was like, first I was taken aback, but then it got funny. I was like, So I was like, but you know how I like to run around on the stage and stuff? I was like, I ain't gonna be able to do that when I get 70s and 80s and 90s. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, I just put you on a two-wheeler like Hannibal Lecter.
I was just watching a blues concert. He was just sitting in the wheelchair. I forgot what artist it was. It was at a jazz festival, I think. I don't know. But it's awesome being in a medium unlike sports.
Right.
We age like wine. You get better with time. So
you just keep playing until you
just sitting down in the rocket chair. You're good, man. Not off.
That's it.
Yeah.
Great solo. I'm glad we got it on tape, you know, because that was it, you know.
I was going to ask you, man, just listening to your music this past week leading up to this, I was just very excited because I heard you playing over the speakers at Dazzle in Denver. And have you played at Dazzle before in Denver?
No.
No, okay.
I usually play at the Soul Dove Underground. I used to play at
That's where I saw you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But listening back, you're obviously great. I love the guitar, but the musicians that were around you too, the keyboardists, the bassists, did you roll with the same crew for a while, or did you have
my whole band? Most 80 to 95%, say 95%. When I'm on the road, I got my own cats with me.
Okay, so
Nice.
well, shout out to them. You guys are good too.
Oh yeah, man. And, well, we ain't gonna say it too loud in case they sit there and want to race. You know, because they always hit. Yeah, they always hit me up. Hey man, when we gonna get a raise?
Okay, you guys are okay. You guys aren't that great.
I'm thinking about it.
After my experience with my second album, you know.
It's a fleeting thought, but I'm thinking about it. You know? Yeah, I got great cats, man, and it's like, you know, they stick with me, and you know, I try to be as good to them as I possibly can. You know.
So when you're making your music, do you all record together, or is there one more main kind of producer of the group?
Not in my group.
Or your band?
Nah, I usually use outside dudes because I don't want to punch one of the band members in the nose. You know, the funny thing with bands, you know, it's like, you know, they play on some of the stuff, you know, but basically when you're doing something, whoever the producer is usually hiring the musicians to play on it.
And so you're producing everything, right?
You know, I produce stuff, and then I have other cats who produce, you know. And like my main producer is a guy named Chris Big Dog Davis. He lives in Connecticut. You know, he uses cats that he's used to working with, you know, who can give him what he's looking for. And this cat is phenomenal, man. Big Dog is like, you know, I said, hey, man, this is what I got. You know, let me see what you can come up with on this. 2 or 3 hours later, song is finished. He like, and he's got this deep voice, and everything is love with Big Dog, right? He's like, he'll call me up. He's like, yeah, love. I'm getting ready to send you some hot stuff. It's all love for Nick Colionne here. So bad that Sue, one day I was talking to Big Dog, and she was sitting next to me, and she's like, you know, because you talk to dog, you start talking love, you know. He's like, and I'm like, yeah, love, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, she's like, who you talking to? I'm like, I'm talking to Big Dog. With all this love stuff?
That's how we are.
I said, I'm putting it on speaker. I was like, yeah, love. So he's like, yeah, it's all love for Nick Colionne. She's like, oh, yeah. I didn't believe you when you used to say Big Dog. It's all love all the time. You know, it's all love with Big Dog, man, you know. But, you know, I think what made me and him really gel is that when we decided to work together, he went on YouTube and watched all these videos of me, right? So he knew exactly who I was live also, you know. We knew each other, but we didn't know each other. And, I mean, we knew each other, but wasn't friends or anything like that. You know, we were acquaintances, you know, and blah, 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 because I was him out on the road playing with other people. And because I asked another sax player, Joel Albright, I was like, how you think me and Big Dog will work together? He's like, man, I think it would be great, you know.
Yeah. And he was right.
And he proved out to be right, you know. But, you know, the first thing I told him, I was like, man, he's like, how do you approach the songs? I was like, you know, I listen, though, you know, but I don't think, you know.
Right.
I was like, you know, I play, you know, I don't want to sound technical, you know, and I play from the heart. It's like, whatever comes out, because one guy asked me on the interview, he's like, what do you call your style? I was like, reckless abandon. You know, whatever comes out, that's what it is. And
That's how it should be.
you know, and because my theory has always been this.
Is that okay, Nick? We have an East.
Go ahead.
You
Yeah.
sure?
Go ahead.
Just wanted to ask you before.
We're cool. No,
I know you're a pretty chill guy. I'm getting to know you better.
we can't smell
I was trying to keep the
No,
smoke
you
in,
can't smell
so I
anything.
wasn't
It's a
blowing it out.
it. Okay. So, but, you know, my theory is this. If you play from the heart, you touch somebody's heart.
That's very true.
If you play for the ears, it's going to go in one ear and out the other one.
I love that. Can we say that one more time real clearly? Because that is a great quote right
I
there.
said, when you play from the heart, you want to touch somebody's heart. Because when you play to the ears, you can go in one ear, out the other one. If you reach down and touch somebody's heart, they're always going to remember the song. Go through the ears, they might not even know it tomorrow.
That's beautiful.
That's for any art medium too. Just
Correct.
really, the soul.
You know,
the soul.
because
Stay true
You
to
know,
yourself.
have you know, I know you guys are not that old, but you ever heard a song from like back in the day maybe when you was teens?
Yeah.
And you hear a song and you can almost remember everything you were doing
Yeah.
when you heard that song.
It's like a smell too. Like when you
Yeah,
smell something.
The whole thing comes back deja vu, you know, and it's,
Yes.
that was a song that touched you here,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's true.
I never thought of it like
you
that
know.
way.
Because sometimes I sit down, man, I listen to those songs, I'm like, man, I remember exactly where I was. The whole scent of the room comes back.
Yeah, it's so strange. I
The
have a
ugly
memory.
girl I was talking to.
I used to dance around my living room to "Paint It Black" by the Rolling Stones, and I have this vivid memory. It was the day after I broke my family's television, and I was dancing around to the Rolling Stones. My dad comes in and he's like still giving me this death stare, and I was like, I can tell he's still mad at me. But yeah, it's like this whole memory that's burned in my brain, you know?
We can't pause, can we? Can we pause?
Yes.
We
yes.
can pause. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So now
We
I
are back.
put on my other glasses. for
We
this
are
one.
back.
So I'll let y'all ask some questions. You know?
Yeah, no, Tyler, you said you had a number of questions that you would have liked to ask.
Well, we just took a cigarette break, and I just can't stop asking him questions. I'm like, man, I gotta save these. Yeah, but we were just talking about your travels. When everything is going good and there's not pandemics happening, like how long are you on the road?
I'm usually out every week, at least 3 to 4 days.
Every week, 3 or 4 days.
You know, my agent believes in working me to, you know, if I had to tell him one time, I know you got a new house, but I don't want to have to pay for it with my commissions, you know, so I need a rest. But
Yeah.
we usually out there, I usually have right up a couple of weeks before Christmas, I usually take that off.
Right.
And then I take a couple of weeks in the summer to do the family fish vacation. We do fishing and stuff like that with the kids and stuff. And this year, I had planned to take 2 vacations. I was like, because I only play in Chicago once, Chicago area, maybe once, sometimes twice a year. And I was like, so my gig, I do an annual Valentine's Day show in Rosemont at the Lowe's every year.
Lowe's? Okay.
And so I do the Lowe's, and then I'll take a couple of weeks off, and then I go back on the road because I'm not going to get no more time off for a good while until July when I'm on vacation. I did the show at the Lowe's. I was enjoying my 2 weeks off, and here it comes. COVID hits the United States. And I've been off ever since. You know?
The longest vacation.
I was like, I wanted a vacation, God, but this is kind of long, you know? You know, and I thought I would go back to work in July. And my last gig for that got pushed back. I had a gig, because everything else at all the major festivals postponed until next year.
Yeah.
keeping the same lineups, but they moved them to like the same time frame next year. So I had a gig in Philly the end of July. It's like, well, I'll be kicking back off in July. This will be over. Last week I found out that one was pushed. I had 1 week in December that was open. They took that. So, but by then I'll be good and rested.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need it, right?
Yeah.
Being on the road all the time, are you feeling restless now being cooped up? The road is what you know.
Every Wednesday morning I start getting the shakes because I feel like I should be packing.
That's your muscle memory.
It's like, I should be packing. It's like, I told my boy, I was like, got all these guitars down here shined up and nowhere to play. But yeah, usually Wednesdays, I'm pretty like, oh
Ready
man.
to get it. Being from Chicago, now you're spreading it out because you started here, so now you got to make them wait for it. What's your most memorable show in Chicago?
You mean recently or?
Your favorite show that you've ever had in the city, you know?
Tough question.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That is tough.
I think one of my favorite shows in Chicago was probably back in the day when I did Navy Pier after, I got my first hit record, and I came back, I did the show at Navy Pier. And I was the opening act. Okay. And we were on what was then the Skyline stage, which is now, I think they changed it to Children's Theater,
Who knows?
And
now we have the Willis Tower.
Yeah.
Sears.
I still call it the Sears Tower.
Sears all the way.
But, I just remember that show was so memorable to me because, I was standing on top of a hit record, hit single, and, to hear the applause when I came out. I think one of the greatest things, at any show that I realized, because I didn't really start doing a lot of traveling, even on that, my first #1 single, I thought I was going to get 1 million gigs, but I didn't, But every time I went somewhere and I'd start playing, when I play that song and people respond to it, and you're like, they know this song, they know this song. And that's a great feeling. And then when I came out with the next record, because I had two hit singles off that record, off my 4th CD, then my 5th CD, Keeping It Cool,
Is that what that red suit that you wearing?
Nah, that's...
Which one's Keeping It Cool?
Keeping It Cool. Yeah, I did.
It was a red suit. Yeah.
And I remember going to San Diego to play Jazz Festival in the Gaslight District. And the way they had the concert set up, they had a stage here on this street, and then about a block away, right off that corner, they had another stage. So while they did stage changing, all the people went to the other stage, to see that act. Yeah. So it was maybe around where we were getting ready to play. It was about 30, 40 people still hanging around, while we were getting ready to sound check and stuff. And Keeping It Cool was a really big record on the West Coast, right? And the single. So when we started sound check, we were playing Keeping It Cool to sound check. We started this summer and people just started coming from everywhere. I was like, and my bass player Dave, he was like, man, they really love this song out of here. I'm like, yeah, they done left the other concerts to come back around. Like, and we just sound checking.
For the sound check.
I'm like, okay. But, and a lot of guys, a lot of people in the music business, they all moved to LA,
Yeah.
And guys always ask me, man, when you gonna move to LA? It's cold up there in Chicago. I was like, dude. But it ain't nothing like the Big Windy, dude.
Yeah.
I like the
That's
Big
what
Windy.
makes you you. What makes you the cold and the shitty weather for 8 months. That what makes the grit.
Because most of the guys, the other artists, you know, they all call me, because they call me the Big Windy Cat, right? Yeah. So on another one of my CDs, so I put a song on called The Big Windy Cat, you know? And a lot of people would ask me this, like, why they call you the Big Windy Cat, you know? And I was like, cause it started like, I would be meeting these other artists, and they, you know, and everybody say, they like, yeah, man, where you from? You know, and I'm like, the Big Windy, you know? And they're like, Chi-Town? I say, yep, the Big Windy, that's where I'm from. And then when they would see me, they'd say, oh, it's the cat from the Big Windy, you know? Then it broke over to the Big Windy Cat, you know?
You were definitely the first person I ever heard use the term cat.
Yeah,
you know, because I was a kid, I knew what a dog was. Like, a dog. Like, yo, this is a cat. This is jazz music.
Yeah. all the dudes, you know, that's, you know, the cats.
The cats,
you know?
man.
It's like, yeah. So they started calling me, yeah, it's the cat from the Big Windy. You know?
Right.
So,
While I'm thinking about it, let's discuss your awesome eccentric clothing that you choose to wear while you perform. I think we'll definitely have to edit in some quick shots of this.
I already have them downloaded.
Alright.
I downloaded them. I have a question right here. It was like, what color suit do you think makes you play the best? Because you have some very bright suits.
For people that are just listening, the best way I could describe is he dresses like a total pimp.
you know,
Big Windy Cat.
Big Windy Cat.
it's funny you say that because people, I go to gigs, and this is honest truth. People will catch me on the stage like, hey man, or a woman is like, what color are you wearing tonight? Because I got a bet, you know, on the color. I was like, it's gonna even be a surprise to me.
That's awesome. Did that start as an idea from your manager that she wants you to be more
the wardrobe?
Yeah, she said the wardrobe.
And
change.
it's funny, you know, because at first I didn't like wearing suits. You know, I don't like to wear suits all the time, but I got a lot of stuff that's really bright. And so my manager, she used to dress like, you know, and she was like, go to this special boutique stuff. It was a ladies' boutique, right? And I remember going there with her one day. The lady had some shirts that were really cool, but they were men's shirts in this ladies' boutique, right? And the lady, she really started liking me. She didn't know how to take me at first, you know, and because I was in there. Well, it wasn't the first time, because I'd been in there a few times with Carol, and I'm like, so it was this lady in there one time trying on clothes. And I'm sitting, you know how dudes do, they sitting on the little thing, man, like, I wish they hurry up, you know.
Just passed out.
And so this lady came out one of the dressing rooms, and she was looking in the mirror, you know, at herself. I don't know, me being me, I turned around, I was like, no, you really don't want to wear that. And she turned around like she wanted to kill me. I was like, don't get mad, lady. I was like, I'm telling you, that ain't you. Really. And her madness left, and she's like, really? I was like, really? You don't want to wear that. She went back in the dressing room. She came out with something. She's like, how is this? I was like, we're getting better.
You missed your second life as a fashion critique.
And the lady that owned the store, her name was Paula, she's like, so what, you not a consultant? I was like, I'm just being real. You know? And so finally the lady came up with some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, now that's you. See, you look good in that. You know? She's like, well, maybe I'll get, hey, there's another color, I'm gonna try that. She got like, you on it. There you go. But then, like I said, I came there, and Paula, she had some shirts that were men's shirts, and Carol's like, try them on, and I tried them on, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome, you know. And then she only sold women's clothes, but every time she would go to where these clothing places where they buy, you know, like the trade shows where retailers go by. Yeah. She would always pick out stuff that she thought I would be cool, man.
That's awesome.
That's you know. So they started getting me up, you know. And then I have a theory, you know, because I never, you know, Carol didn't like the stuff I wore, you know what I mean, but it was from where I was from, you know. Right. So around on the west side, I was considered a, you know, real clean dude.
That's right. That's right.
But, you know, but I always thought, man, you know, it's like, especially in this genre that I play in. You know, it's like, I tell the younger guys, say, man, if people want to see a construction worker, they'll go to a construction site, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Look like an entertainer, you know, because people paid their good hard money in here to see you, you know. Don't come up here looking like a bum, man, you know. And then, you know, I tell my band members, I say, hey, man, you know, so I make them dress. And I'm like, look, my mother told me something years ago. People hear what they see.
It's very true.
You know?
Okay, yeah, that is true.
People hear what they see.
You think I like wearing all these loud colors all the time?
Hey, you look good. You look good in them.
You know,
I gotta
but
say.
I was like, the difference is when you walk out there with that look stuff you got on, and then I walk out here with this hot pink suit on, they say, oh yeah, it's showtime. Something getting ready to happen.
Right.
I like,
That's true.
before I play a note, because the thing is, you know, some cats tease me about my clothes. It's like, I say, but you know what? From the time I walk on the stage, I got your attention.
So true.
It's true.
When I walk out from behind that curtain, I got your attention already, because they're like, what is he got on? You know?
I think I have some notes to take from this.
You know, it's like,
I could see you rocking a purple
know?
suit coming
Yeah, I gotta
up.
start dressing way cooler.
What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color suit? Oh, my bad.
I think red is my color.
Red?
When I'm wearing red,
You rock
man,
it,
I
man.
just
You
feel
rock it.
I see
like
you got
really
an
wear.
Elton John thing down there. Did you get some? I see you have an Elton John probably record down there. Did you get some of your fashion statements from him? Because he had kind of a wild statement with fashion as well.
See, we might have thought Elton looked crazy, but we was like, Elton had our eyes. You know, now that's a book I just bought.
Okay.
I want a couple of songs, and I want to see what it was doing. But
We watched the movie Rocket Man. I don't know.
Oh,
if you-
yeah.
So we got done watching it probably 2 a.m, and we both were like, we gotta go sit down at the piano and play the piano.
hey, man,
So inspired.
what man? One day I sat down here. I watched a movie about the Temptations.
Yeah.
Then I watched a movie about the guys who played all the songs. You know, those guys were bad. You know, and nobody really knows their names.
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. That's always the way, isn't
The
it?
Funk Brothers. You know,
Right. Right.
and they probably played on more hits than anybody you know, right?
That's crazy.
And then I watched Rocket Man. Then I watched this movie about Queen.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Another great one.
Man,
Did we start
We
that
won?
one?
What did we
Is that
just
the one
watch?
that we
Studio
started?
City.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I can't. I know I've seen it a couple times. I thought you guys watched it, but maybe we watched. Yeah.
We watched
Yeah, Freddie Mercury was on. Then I
Inspiring.
watched the 5 Heartbeats.
Yeah.
Then I watched the Motown special.
Have you seen Studio City?
No, I haven't
Sound
seen that.
City.
Sound City?
Sound City,
Sound
yeah.
City, yeah. We just watched that. It's just the recording studio, but it shows like not having much. Like you made your records like the earlier days, and that's what's the beauty of it. Not this nice recording studio. It's
Right.
just in the dirt, focusing on the music.
You know, and it's like now, everybody that's got a laptop is a recording studio.
Exactly.
We're in his basement. Just
You know
make
what I'm
a
like?
room and you're good.
I tell with me and some guys we talk sometimes like, you know, now, you know, you're playing tracks. I know the time when, you know, if you wanted a certain person to play on your track, on your song, you had to either get on the plane with the tape and go there for them to record and you come back, you know, because you weren't going to trust your tapes in the mail.
Of course
you know?
not.
And now you just like, okay, man, I want you to play this. You know, like I got friends like, who I really, you know, think are the great guitar players. And I was like, dude, I need you to play rhythm on this song for me, you know. I put in Dropbox, send it to you.
Yep. Exactly.
They send it
Be
back.
thankful.
You know?
Young producers, be thankful.
You know?
We don't know what we have right now.
Right.
Compared to not too long ago.
You know,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
we ain't talking a long time ago. You know,
Absolutely.
and you know, so now you can just Dropbox it or hightail, and they send it back to you, and you can edit it and all this stuff. And it's like,
So
like with my drum cats, I send them the tracks. They send me the drum tracks. They send me, you know, 4 different versions of it, and I pick out what I like.
Do you think the musicianship has been hurt because you could retake things compared to you got to get this shit right now? Do you think
it's like 50-50 because it's something to be said about a group of guys sitting in the studio playing together. Because then you're feeding off each other. You're feeding off each other, Song might take some different nuances because this cat is doing something, it's like, this cat is like, yeah, okay, if he going there, I'm going right with him, But then sometimes like, okay, you stay where you at. It's like, but now, it's so much easier, and I see like really young kids, man, like on YouTube. Yeah. And I'm like, how the hell you learn all that? He ain't but 9. He outplaying me.
Once YouTube became a thing, I wanted to quit playing the guitar multiple times from little children that just make me ashamed of myself.
I think about it like, a lot of really young dudes, say even your age brackets, they, me and some of the other guitar players was like, well, they got a lot of advantages we didn't have. They got YouTube. They got somebody that's showing them how to do it. Exactly. Where we had to sit down and listen to the record.
Yep, slow it down.
That could be a disadvantage also to us.
Because you ain't playing with no heart.
Right.
And it's like ear training and stuff, and it's like, because back, when I started playing guitar, man, we still doing records. Yeah. So even when you slow a record down, you do something like, say, the record was recorded at 45 RPM, then you take it down to 33, it changed the key.
Changed the pitch too. Huh?
Yeah.
So now you're getting the pattern.
Like, you got all this stuff, it's still in the same key, or the record might, on a vinyl, it might not be, your turntable might not be turning at exactly 45. So a lot of times you be trying to learn a song and it's in between keys. So you say, well, I just got to make it, it's going to either be G or G sharp. Which one is the easiest?
I hate when that happens.
So it'd be like in between keys. So you just had to pick a key,
So I feel like, your ear training would be so much better than learning it the way you did compared to like us now learning it off the YouTube video.
And then it's like sometimes, man, people call you for a gig or a show, and you got to learn this song. You don't have no money to buy the record, so you got to wait till it come on the radio. And then it's like, and records back then wasn't long. They were only like 2 minutes, 35 seconds.
Right.
And it's like, you be like, okay, I have 2 minutes, 35 seconds to learn all of this record. Okay, go. I hope y'all, replay this again, because I didn't get it all.
That would be rough.
There's so many advantages and disadvantages for each generation. Mm-hmm. Like, I could see we're more distracted because of the technology in front of our face. You guys weren't posting pictures on Facebook. You guys were literally just listening to music and making music.
My little band, man, we did a show. We had to get out there with posters and hang them on the poles,
Yeah. Of course, man. I did a lot of flyer passing out back in the day.
Nowadays, you just have a Facebook ad that you can just hit across the country.
And this is going to hit Instagram, Twitter, it's going to hit everything,
For people to hear your music would be so much tougher back in the day, too, because they would have to be searching for that or stumble upon it.
I think, but, one of the things, I guess, in a way I'm kind of jealous of, and in a way I'm like, nah, But I always tell people, it's like, man, if I would have knew all I had to do was talk and I could have made millions of dollars,
Joe Rogan.
It wouldn't have been no guitar playing.
That's what we're trying to do this podcast for. We can just meet cool people like you, shoot the shit, and then hopefully make some money from it.
I'd be rapping. I'd be like, your mama said this and then.
Could have been a rapper.
I'd be rapping like crazy, man. I got to be $50 billion, right?
Did hip hop influence your music a lot when it started coming out?
I can play hip hop, but I tell people, because, a lot of young cats always say, hey, man, they would be like, hey, man, can you play hip hop? I can play the songs. No, I know how to play the songs. Yeah. But just like in any era and in any genre of music, hip-hop is not just the music. Just like jazz is not just the music. It's a lifestyle.
It is, man. It's a culture that goes with it.
I don't live that lifestyle, you know? And I mean, I don't want people, you know, I don't need people looking at my underwear because my pants is way down here, you know.
Listen to them.
You know.
Lesson.
And I'm like, you know.
Message.
So, you know, that's a lifestyle. You know, that's their thing. Sure. I can sit there and learn the songs, but it's not going to sound real authentic because it's not me. That I don't live that lifestyle.
100%, man.
You know,
I noticed when I went to college, you know, I was a metalhead my whole life, and everything was about playing as fast as you can, and you know how clean you play. And that's what I started to realize: the making each note mean something to you. You know,
right. Playing
less, but have it really be something you're trying to speak. You know,
less is always more.
Less is more. Exactly.
You know, it's like. I remember when I auditioned for the rock band, right? I went there to the rehearsal studio, had my Strat. Man, I didn't touch the amp. I just plugged in, right? Because I wanted to hear what the sound was going to be, you know, that was already, that they had dialed up from another guitar player, because I was taking his place.
Sorry, buddy.
Man, I barely touched the guitar. My hair stood up on my head. It was so loud. It was like, I just said, whoa.
like the opening scene to Back to the Future when he's in front of that amp and he gets blown back.
Man, and I had a big fro and it was shooting straight out. You know? I was like, man, will it go any louder? You know?
That is so funny.
But you know, that was back in the days before the suits. You know, I was just wearing pants and suspenders on stage all the time. You know, no shirt. I was the shirtless wonder.
Everyone's got to come from somewhere.
True.
You think about like the band Kiss, you know, with their ridiculous outfits. Like, what was the stepping stone to that? Like showing up to a bar with like 100-person capacity with these outrageous costumes on,
and people looking at them like,
what the hell are they doing?
When they evolved into that,
they caught the ass.
Well, they caught the eyes. Exactly.
They caught the ass, you know?
And they brought up something cool that I heard them say is that, and they've also created these characters that are going to outlive them. You know, after they're all gone, these Kiss characters are going to be archetypes of the music scene forever, you know?
So action figures, everything.
Yes, exactly.
Right? You know?
We need some Nick Colionne action figures.
I got a Nick Colionne bobblehead.
He does have a bobblehead.
You know, so...
All right, well, I'll show you.
Yeah, let's get the bobblehead.
I got it for a Christmas person. The person said the pants cost so much, so they went with shorts.
Oh my God.
You know, but you know, cats back then, you know, they were prolific songwriters, you know, and see, like, you know, the things that I steal from older cats from that were back before me is like concepts of what they did. You know, it's like Smokey Robinson, great lyricist, you know. The Beatles. When I was doing High Flying, which was my first #1 song that I made on my 4th record, but I used the Beatles concept. Beatles were the best hook writers ever. And if you notice, the Beatles, most of their songs start with the hook.
Yeah, it's actually true. Catch your attention.
I never noticed that until you just said
listen to this song. Sometimes it's just one line. They'll say, I want to hold your hand. Oh, please. You know,
hey, Jude.
You know, and they'll be like, I saw her standing there. Pow. Then the song.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I was like, they start all the songs off with the hook.
That's cool.
And so now your mind has this theme from
it's
the
like,
start.
well, I'm going to start my song with the hook.
That's smart.
I've
catch
never
it.
heard of that.
No,
You know?
There's a famous story with the Beatles. It's like documented. They had an old, whatever, the CD machine. I forget, what do you call it? what do you call it?
Jukebox?
Jukebox. Oh shit. A jukebox. Sorry, but they would have the manager like put in different records, and every single day they would choose a random number, and they said we're doing that today, and they would choose that theme.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Not copy, but the vibe.
The vibe. You know, you want to catch, you know, the hooks are, you know, it's like with contemporary jazz and smooth jazz, jazz has changed a lot because back when jazz was invented, jazz was more about the solo,
Right.
you know.
Improvise.
Yeah, the improvisation, you know. Now, it evolved into the thing with smooth jazz, it's about the hook. You know, it's not about the solo.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have a catchy hook, you know. There's no hook, there's no play, you know. So,
I feel like
and
that's kind of involved
Do
in
you
almost
do you
everything.
combine both those worlds? Do you improvise a lot on stage?
Oh, yeah.
Or? Yeah.
man, you know, I can't play one solo like it is on my record.
Now I don't feel so bad.
I don't know no solos that are on my record. When I go to play, I'm playing something entirely different. You know,
Yeah, that's
because
the way to do it.
the day I made the record, I felt one way. When I hit the stage, I feel another way. On the record, that solo is short. Sometimes my band be like, "Hey man, you been soloing 5 minutes, man. Let's get out of this song."
You're like Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but it's just getting good to me.
I'm really.
That's common along most great artists that they're. Do you think that's common along most great artists? They're improvising and playing the hook's
yeah.
completely different than what's on the album, just because that's what they're feeling.
You're
that
always
night?
gonna play the hook that's on the record because that identifies the record. But you're not gonna play the solo and every note that's on the record, even in the verse. You're gonna improvise throughout the verse, you know. And then when it comes to the solo, you play. You know, now you get a chance to stretch out. You can't really stretch out on the record. You know, you got, you know,
That'd be so boring too. To do it
Yeah.
the same every single time.
you know, because if I play the same song, like say I'm on the road and I go to a different place every day. If I play the same songs, well, I'm going to play the same show, you know, because I ain't got time to rehearse another show between the day and tomorrow.
You're paying. You're paying people.
Right. So I, you know, even though you play the same songs while you're on the tour, every day it should be different because every day you feel different.
Yeah, it's an
You know.
extension of yourself.
Right. You know, it's like, you know, like I tell people, you know, my thing is, I'm always gonna give you 100%. I'm gonna come out there on the stage. When I walk on the stage, I'm thinking, I'm coming out here doing 100%. Then I'm gonna try to take it further. You know, and I don't never want anybody to say that, you know, Nick Colionne just came up and phoned it in. You know, I was like, I'm gonna always give you the best that I got. And it's like, I'm gonna start at 100% and go up if I can. So if you see me today and I was like this, then you see me tomorrow, say today I got to 140%, but tomorrow I only got to 110%, you know, they still can't say I phoned it in because when I gave you that 140, that was the best that I can do that day. When I gave you that 110, that was the best that I had in me that day.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So each day fluctuate. I might be great today and I might be just real good tomorrow, but that was the best that I could do.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
That's the important thing.
You know, it was the best that I can do. I didn't just come up there and say, oh, well, you know, blah, 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 it's only 10 people here. You know, no, that's the best I can do because I also feel like whether I'm playing in front of 10,000 people or 10 people, I'm going to give the 10 people the same exact show that I gave the 10,000. It might be even better, you know, because,
Yeah.
you know, they paid to come in and see me. They deserve to get the best. They deserve to get the best that I got. You
You're
know?
like the Michael Jordan of jazz. You know,
I
no
wish.
matter what, every single night, once you go on stage, you're gonna do
know,
the best
you
you
gotta,
possibly
you got
could.
that. You got to do the best that you can possibly do. You know,
Like it's your last performance.
every time. You know, and it's like people say, "Well, man, you were really hitting, man. And, the crowd was like, that's like, don't matter to me. I come here to have fun.
Right.
This is not only my livelihood, this is my joy. It's like, and it's like, they always say, well, man, you always look so cool and calm on the stage, I like, but my heart is racing.
Yeah, we're good.
Wait, it's 240? Oh, okay.
Yeah, my heart is racing all the time. I'm a very anxious person.
Yeah.
I had one guy a couple of weeks ago interview me. He died laughing almost, man. He's like, so do you ever get nervous? I was like, every day.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, we talked about this in our live podcast. Like, you should have those nerves every single time.
The last thing.
Yeah, one of my old teachers used to say, he's like, if you feel at home on the stage, it's like you're doing something wrong. He's like, you should feel nervous. That's what the whole thing's about. But you got to learn how to use that nervous energy and put it, make it something else.
When they say my name, the band is playing and I'm getting ready to come on stage, the last two things I do, before I get from behind the curtain, is like, God, please let these people like me. Because my guys be like, man, when you come, why do every time we hit the stage, we got to go out blasting and killing? I was like, my anxiety levels be way up here. First two songs got to,
Yes.
just so I can start to calm down, I got to let all that nervous energy out,
Right. Right.
And that's it, man.
What's the biggest tank that stands out to you the most? Like tank of a performance. You've performed so many times. There have been bad situations.
Some bad situations. I think the worst things that ever happened to me, man, is I never break a string when I'm carrying two guitars.
Okay.
I got one, and when you're the artist, the show can't stop.
Yeah.
It's got to keep going.
Yeah.
And one time, man, I broke a string. I handed it to another friend of mine who plays guitar, who had been on already. Next thing I know, they got 5 people trying to put one string on the guitar.
Sounds like the beginning of a joke. How many musicians does it take to restring a guitar?
And I'm on the stage like, come on, man. Because one thing about me, man, if I don't have the guitar in my hand most of the time, except for when I'm acting crazy at the end of my show, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Be good just to hold them down by your side. Yeah, great.
Well, we're real happy with what was going on, and at the end of the day,
Will Ferrell.
What's that off of Tailgater Nights?
Bringing his hands up.
I'm on the stage doing this, and putting my hand in my pocket, doing this. One time my mom saw me roasting. She's like, "What were you doing, fidgeting the whole time?" Like, put my hand in my pocket, take my hand out of my pocket, scratch my head, hold on to my shirt.
It's an extension of yourself.
And I'm like,
You're used to it.
could y'all please hurry up with that guitar? My hands getting tired from just finding things to do.
Well, like I told the story earlier of you handling it very well. This is clearly from years and years of experience and not handling it quite as
you grow into things. You get your entertainment skills together because you want to be a great musician. That's first.
Right.
And you sit down and you hone your skills, on the guitar. But it's just as important to hone your skills as an entertainer, because this is the music business. It's called, they say, the music business, but it's the entertainment business.
Yeah, absolutely.
People come to see you so that they can feel better than they did when they came. They want to be entertained, the old days of them just sitting there like this and you just doing, that's gone. People want to get wild and loose. Just like after this COVID stuff, I'm scared to do a big concert. They might go crazy,
Concerts are gonna be
They're gonna be like,
a whole new level.
I've been locked up 5 months.
Oh yeah. Well, someone was just telling me the other day that the Roaring 20s was a similar thing. They were in quarantine from the
And that's
Spanish
how
flu.
Hollywood-
Exactly. And everyone was
Hollywood
like,
blew up.
we need entertainment. You know, we need something to do.
Oddly similar years, 100 years.
That's what I'm
later.
saying. It's kind of weird, right? I mean, I truly believe we're about to witness a huge artistic renaissance. I mean, I know we've been working on music like crazy for the last few months, you
Yes.
know, and a lot of new things happening, hopefully.
You know, I know y'all got a group, so I'm gonna give y'all some advice that a great entertainer and singer told me. Old guy, you probably never heard him, Lou Rawls, right? He was an R&B singer and jazz singer, and strings and strings of hit records, right? And he used to have a telethon for one of the I forgot which one it was, one March of Dimes, one of those charities, and he would do those telethons 3 or 4 days on TV. And I remember he came to see me on a fluke, and this was before my 4th CD came out. And I was playing in Milwaukee, and the club owner was telling me in the band, he was like, yeah, Lou Rawls is coming tonight. And we all looked at each other, what? He's like, yeah, he's a friend of mine. Okay, yeah, right. So and that point, the bass player I had then, Dave, it was his first day playing with me with no rehearsal except at sound check. Right?
Oh, perfect.
And so after the guy told us that Lou Rawls was coming, Dave started doing these Lou Rawls impressions, because Lou Rawls had a very distinctive baritone. He used to do all the Budweiser beer commercials.
No
and stuff
way.
Too. Yeah, he was extremely famous, right? And he used to be, yeah, buddy, on the commercial.
Yeah, buddy.
And so Dave was back in the back, yeah, buddy. So we play, Lou Rawls came, sat right in the front. It's like, man, Lou was here, blah, blah, blah. So I say to Dave, I was like, I'll go up to Mike. I was like, yeah, and we got Mr. Lou Rawls in the house. I was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, my bass player can do, impersonate you. He's like, and Lou's like, yeah, let me hear him. I'm like, hey, Dave, why don't you come up here and do the Lou Rawls thing?
No pressure.
And Dave was like, I just met you, and I'm gonna kill you. But he finally came up there, he went to the mic, yeah, buddy. So after the show, Lou came back in the dressing room, and he was like talking to us, man, and we were like in awe, right? We were like, man, Lou Rawls back here talking to us, man, So he says, then he pulls me off to the side, me and Carol and the band's talking. He's like, I think you're a great guitar player. He's like, but I want you to get your entertainment thing together. Because I was just really breaking out,
Right.
I didn't get a whole lot of shows with just me, as a front man. And he told me, and these words I tell other cats all the time, I said, Lou Rawls told me, he's like, musicians make money, entertainers get rich.
That is good, man. That's some damn
So
good
I always
advice.
think about that,
We always talk about, we see so many amazing musicians that could just shred, but they don't have any star power.
No personality.
And nobody knows about them at all. And they're in their room.
Gotta have that X
shredding.
factor, man,
You do.
But, to continue, so Lou Rawls tells us, he's like, I'm going to come back tomorrow. So I'm going to bring some people with me. Now, the next day, he was headlining a big fundraiser at the auditorium in Milwaukee. So, I'm like, okay, Lou said he's going to bring a couple people with him, man. That's going to be cool, So we come back the next night. There's a line all the way down the street to come in this club. And this club is not that big, right? And I'm like, where the hell are all these people going? They don't know me, I can tell,
Right.
Because I'm walking past them, they don't know who I am. So my manager stops and she's like, yeah, what brings you guys here? have you ever heard of the Colionne? They was like, no. But Lou Rawls said there was a guitar player that we all needed to see.
No way. Wow. And this is before social media and stuff.
Yeah,
He just told a bunch of people?
He made an announcement from the stage.
Oh, okay, from the stage. Okay. Wow.
And I'm like, he's like, yeah, this lady says, yeah, Lou Rawls said there's a guitar player we need to see. And we, people started, man, we had to do an extra show.
No way.
And
it only takes one person to hear your music.
Right, that one little moment.
And then Lou Rawls came up and sang 2 songs with us, man. And we were grooving, man. I couldn't hardly play the song because I was too busy smiling.
Starstruck while you're playing with someone.
Yeah. Oh, man,
So I know we're kind of wrapping up towards the end here. I feel like we could definitely keep talking forever. You've answered a lot of this question already, but something I definitely wanted to at least get out of you before you end. We've talked a lot about being a young artist or being a musician, but just for anyone that might be listening that's a young person, a young adult, you've been through a lot in your life, and I feel like you got a lot of wisdom to share. What's your biggest piece of advice to young people that are in such a tumultuous country right now and trying to find their way,
I don't get too political, but I don't care what side anybody stands on the political spectrum. But, when it all comes down, we all human beings. If we peel this top layer of skin, we all the same color. But I tell them, it's like the one thing I found, no matter where I've been in the world, musicians can always talk to each other. No matter what color they are, what religion they are. They can speak to even when they can't speak the same language.
Yep.
They can still communicate to each other. They can talk to each other and you be like, what? Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying.
I get it.
And then my other thing is what I always tell young cats when I go into schools, because I not only, mentor that at school, I go into a lot of schools when I'm on the road because people know I do that kind of stuff.
Right.
And colleges, high schools, elementary schools. I go through them all, and talk to kids. And the first thing I tell them is like, so what advice do you have? I say, practice. Practice makes perfect. I tell them, always remember, when you're practicing something, practice it like you're going to perform it. Because if you get in the habits of practicing bad, if, you're in the band, y'all clowning around, y'all just want to do it. That's going to come to the stage. You're going to be that same way. You practice and don't let nobody stop you. Believe that I might not make it next week, but I got to persevere because I want this. You got to want it, I don't care what genre of music you play. You cannot play for money. You gotta play music because you love it. Whether you make a dime, as a youngster, man, 13, 14, 15, when I was in high school, you wouldn't believe. I would carry my equipment. For people who don't know about Chicago, we got the L train, which is the sub train, and then I would carry my stuff on the L.
You don't carry stuff on the L.
Man,
usually.
I used to have a shopping cart from Jewel in my backyard. I would put my amp and all my stuff in there, roll it to the L station, leave the cart in the L, and hope nobody didn't steal it out of the thing to go play somewhere for free. Or walk 3 miles with my stuff during the snow in the shopping cart. Shopping cart was my car. Till my stepfather said, "Get that cart out the backyard," right? But I would carry. Man, I'd push my stuff in the shopping cart in the snow to play for free.
Listen to that.
My mother always says, now she's like, these promoters and people just don't know you. They don't know you play for free. I like, yeah, I'm playing for free. They can't, I'm charging them for carrying all my clothes. That's what they pay me to do.
That's right, man. That's right.
So youngsters, I say, hey, practice, believe, and stay true to who you are. You can't be nobody else, you know. It's already a Steve Vai, it's already a Van Halen. Find you, you know. Yes, you gotta listen. You have to emulate somebody to find yourself, you know. I mean, the guys that I listen to all the time, like Wes Montgomery, George Benson, you know, Pat Martino, right. You know, all these people. Inside of listening to all these people, that's what I tell people all the time. They say, your style's like, my style is a potpourri of all the things that I've listened to. You know, B.B. King, Jimi Hendrix, all the guitar players that I listened to my whole life. If I put them all in a bowl, then I just came out from under that. You know, because I feel like I got a little bit from everybody, and then I found myself in between all these people. You know, which lets you be able to go from this to that and this to that, because I don't really stereotype myself with any total type. You know, it's like, yes, I play jazz. Yes, but I play blues.
Right.
I play rock. I even played on the country and western record.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like Nick Colionne, guitar.
Right.
You know.
That's what it is.
You know.
You're a guitarist.
You know, learn as much about every genre of music as you can. Don't just get pigeonholed to listening to one thing. Broaden your horizons, you know. Because in order to be a great producer, you know, you should listen to classical music. There's all your string arrangements and, you know, and stuff like that. Then you have a concept of how they're used. You know, you just can't go willy-nilly. I'm gonna put some strings in there. You know, so,
what are the standards of using strings? You know, how are people that are doing it well doing it? And stuff,
and see, now, you know, we got strings on the synthesizers, but back in the day, in order to what, you know, we can do now, what they used to have 7 violins to make a violin cushion. Right. You know? You know? And we can do it right here on the keyboard. You know?
Crazy.
You know, like, how many violins I want? 26. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, we got to take advantage of those tools more and more, because you're right. It's an unprecedented time for access.
We were just listening to a Rick James record the other day, and all the orchestral of it, and it's like those guys are actually doing it in a room. It's actually a huge orchestra.
We briefly toyed with the idea of making a remix of it, and we started trying, and we're like, the original's so much better than what we're doing. Why are we even wasting our time, man?
Yeah, you know, you get to listen to a song, you know, I've done it before. Yeah, you know, I should do this song. No, I shouldn't. You know?
Leave it the original.
You know.
You guys want to wrap this up? Put a bow on it?
Yeah, this was good. Yeah.
Nick Colionne, man, I am so happy that you took the time to do this.
My pleasure,
Can you, before we go, can you tell people where to find your music and where to, you know, see possible tour dates once that happens ever again?
Right. Well, whenever the COVID-19 lets us up, you know, we can... you can always go to my website, nickcolionne.com.
nickcolionne.com.
You know, and go hit the tour page and see if I'm coming to a city near you. My music is available on all the different music outlets, you know, wherever you ban your music from.
Spotify is where I was listening.
Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever.
How do you spell Nick Colionne?
NickColionne.
You've done this before.
Not 2 L's. 1 L, 2 N's. You know,
AKA Big Windy Cat.
You know,
AKA you just heard an interview with the Big Windy Cat. Nick, thanks again, man.
Hey, man, thank you.
Awesome.
All right.